Got another one from his collection. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. This is the final one I bought from the Wisconsin collection, where we got that KM, the Spotlight in this unboxing episode, as well as that really cool Quilty 1982. And this is one of those guitars, I probably could have just unboxed it, because we've already done this model before, but this is one of the more original older ones. So what model are we talking about? Well, it's got 3 pickups. It's a Peter Frampton Les Paul Custom. And oh my, is this one dusty or what? Like the body, yeah, it's got some scratches, not too bad, but check out this headstock. Yeah, that is frosted over. So if you don't know the story behind the Peter Frampton guitar, we're going to loosely cover it, but I'm not going to do all the full nitty-gritty details until I find like the aged custom shop relic version. But there's been so many Peter Frampton customs done, including current in production. So Peter's original custom actually started life as a 1954, meaning it had the Alnico 5 staple pickup and a P90 in the bridge, but at some point in time it was routed out to have 3 humbuckers like so. It got the cream plastic, somebody changed the ABR1 into a Nashville style bridge, and then it was tragically lost around 1980 in South America when a plane crash happened in Venezuela. Lives were lost, the gear was assumed to be burnt up and gone forever, and Peter was very frazzled and sad about the situation. However, against all odds, in 2012, the guitar surfaces. Somebody rescued it from that, and it's been down there ever since. Somebody noticed it while a luthier was working on it for someone, going, "Hey Pete, I think this is your guitar," and he was able to recover it. These were first produced around the year 2000. You've got to remember, signature Les Pauls for other people were very new things in the late 90s. Because Henry J and his investors take over the company in 1986, they flop around for a couple of years with weird super strat stuff, and then eventually Slash starts to make the Les Paul popular again. Gibson makes the Les Paul Classic series, then they open the custom shop in late 1993. Things are looking great, and then you get things like the Snake Pit Les Paul, the Tony Iommi Signature SG. Those are all mid to late 90s stuff. And don't forget about the Ace Frehleys. So the fact that we don't get a Peter Frampton till the year 2000 is very apropos. It makes sense. They were going through the roster lineup and making these cool signature guitars of an already signature model for a guy named Les Paul. So these were a limited edition, but they just kept making a whole bunch of them. For example, I've seen some from 2000, 2002 to 2005. There was an Epiphone limited edition of this at one point in time. So limited edition, but not necessarily limited in production from what I can tell. But how do you tell what number you have? Well, the original run, if you look on the backside of the headstock, you'll see a number. This one reads PF for Peter Frampton 628. And then starting in 2021, there's a brand new unlimited version costing $6,999. Now, is there a difference between the old ones and the new ones? I didn't think so when I first bought this guitar, but after tearing it apart, cleaning it up, yeah, I realized the old ones are very inaccurate. Because you have to remember, they didn't know what this guitar necessarily was. Gibson didn't get their hands on it, get to recreate it. So they didn't know it was initially a 54 Les Paul Custom that was routed from the Alnico 5 in the neck and the P90 in the bridge and all these other cool modifications. Or the fact that his originally was all mahogany. It did not have the maple top. So these old ones are built like it's a normal custom, with a maple top, regular clear gloss finish. They're actually chambered. I did not know that. I thought this one was pretty light. And the pickup combination is rather unique, with a 57 Classic in the neck, a 57 Plus in the middle, and a ceramic 500T in the bridge. Whereas the modern day one, it gets the new name associated with it, Phoenix, because when they were initially making these, they didn't know it was going to rise from the ashes. You get a set of triple custom buckers. It's a solid mahogany body, meaning no maple top, but it does have 9-hole weight relief, and it features the VOS finish. It has all the polishing swirls and whatnot, and the clear coat is ambered over. So there's quite a difference between these two runs. They might look similar on the outside, have a similar wiring diagram, but the guts are different, the way it's constructed is different. You could easily have both of these in your collection. The neck profiles are also very different. The old ones have a much slimmer neck, but we'll compare those dimensions over on the workbench. But after they found the guitar in 2012, in 2015, they did up a new limited edition run, and it was aged by Tom Murphy. They made 35 of them. That's the version I want to review. It's so cool. Because remember, the thing was in a plane crash. It's got missing inlays in the headstock, the bindings chopped off. The thing looks like it was in a fire. That was a cool relic job that they had to redo. But due to the fact that this guitar rose from the flames, that's why he calls this one Phoenix. Spelled a little bit strangely, but hey, that's how it is. But if a 3-pickup Les Paul Custom's not your style, but you still want your Frampton, in 2005, they had a Les Paul Jr. with triple P90s. That'd be a fun model too. But Peter Frampton wiring is interesting. So it's not just your regular bridge, neck, and then middle positions traditionally are these two together in kind of a quacky out of phase tone. He wires his where this knob is more of a blending of your middle position into any of the other pickup selections. So it gives you more tonal opportunities here. Whereas this one controls both your neck and bridge volumes, but then he leaves you still with 2 different tone controls. So traditionally you cannot get your neck and middle pickup on a 3-pickup Les Paul Custom, but on these you can. There's so many different tones. I'm going to do my best to vaguely show you what this thing is capable of. But another unique feature about these is you've got the Peter Frampton signature on your inlay at the 12th fret. And if you're asking me, how do you date your Peter Frampton? Les Paul Custom, that is. Unfortunately, it's a little bit difficult. It's kind of like the old Zakk Wylde models. I mean, even our paperwork, unfortunately, does not have a date. But here's a look at our case candy. I thought this was particularly cool. So you can pause to read this. That's probably clearer than any explanation that I can tell you. I have not seen one of these before. That's really cool. Looks like he might have printed it off of the old Gibson website, because that does not feel like official case candy to me. Well, let's go ahead and dust this old gal off and throw her onto the workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs. Not gonna lie, this episode was a lot different before I cleaned this guitar. I didn't realize so much had changed between the runs, but it makes sense. So let's take a deep dive here. I decided to give it the full deluxe cleaning polish job. So yes, 57 in the neck, 57 plus in the middle, and sure enough, a Gibson USA base plate that we now know as the 500T. Kind of an interesting set. So ceramic and then 2 more traditional ones. But if you're looking to date your Peter Frampton, here's probably the best way to do it if you still have the stickers on the back. So this one's a mid 2008-ish, at least when the pickups were made. So I would assume somewhere between 2008 to 2010 would be a possibility on this one. As far as our pickup routes, here's what we're working with. Here we can see the long neck tenon. They knew to do that. I guess they were going based on his memory that it was a 50s Les Paul, but now that I think about it, I mean, shouldn't they have known to do the mahogany top at that point? But maybe they really just didn't know and just decided, yeah, let's give it a nice premium feature. But here's what our middle pickup route's looking like, and our nice bridge pickup route. I did not see any type of particular markings in here. But to sum up our pickups here, the middle pickup is always on. So I would assume this means neck and middle, bridge will be these two together, and then the middle actually has all 3. That's another combination you can't normally get. The all 3 and these 2 together. So with the middle pickup fully in the circuit, these 2 together are 3.92, then 5.17, and then all of them together takes you to about 3.14. But if we come over here and roll this off, because these are the controls of the middle pickup, it's its volume and its tone. So we've essentially taken it out of the circuit. So now we have just these 2 pickups reading 5, just the bridge reading 13.84, which is where a 500T would be, and 7.49. Everything looking good there. So if you don't like the blending or any of that, you can just leave that at 0 all the time and you have just a regular Les Paul. If you think that gets in your way while playing, you could shave that down and then just recess that all the way into the guitar if you want the look with not necessarily the tones. The downside to this being this is both your neck and bridge pickup volume and tone, so it's kind of a master tone, master volume setup in that case when you take this out of the circuit. But the other thing is you can blend just a little bit of the middle into whatever those positions that you like. Now from past experience, there's usually like 3 different tones in between, but we'll toy around with that in a minute. But here we can see our Nashville style bridge that has the posts in the body. I would imagine they got that right simply because of looking at old concert footage. And this is the Peter Frampton Comes Alive 1976 guitar. He's the reason why Norland started to make 3-pickup Les Paul Customs again. But here's a look at our bridge itself. It's labeled PW. And now the tailpiece on this one is full weight. However, it doesn't have the usual casting mark, and I was able to find a different spec sheet that said it's supposed to be lightweight aluminum. So it's possible this has been replaced. I don't know for sure. This is the only one I've ever torn apart from the original run. This one cleaned up pretty nicely. I did my polishing treatment. Do you have some scratches yet? Yeah, polishing swirls. It's not a mint condition collectible, but I would say it's close enough for most people who don't don't need a 100% perfect guitar. This isn't a model I need for my collection or anything. However, now that I know how different it is, I do look at these way differently. But we can tell it's a two-piece maple top because you can just barely see the seam line right there when you get it in the light. And you can also see a little bit of flame figuring there, so if you wanted to strip it, you could, and see what type of lottery you might win or lose. This particular one, I don't know if I would do that because you can see a lot of flame on this side and it's even. It's all the way across. If you get it in the light, it's actually looking good. But if you go to the other side, I'm not seeing any of that waviness, so you'd be left with a kind of a weird half and half top. But sometimes that's cool too. Good old lacquer sink. There's actually a way to view what is underneath your solid colored finishes. I made a video on it a long time ago. Check it out. But no holes for a pick guard on these. And I found this as another interesting modification. We've got a Schaller strap lock on the front, but a gold Dunlop at the bottom. The new ones actually come stock with Schallers. But now we can move on to our mahogany neck with ebony fretboard. We've got 22 medium jumbo frets. I gave them a nice mild polishing. Here's a closer look at the Peter Frampton inlay. Those are all real mother of pearl as they should be. There's just some mild fret wear on this particular example, and you can see some play wear to the board. But now our neck dimensions. So we got 1.7 inches at the nut, 2.08 at the 12th, 0.79 first fret neck depth, and at the 12th, 0.89 versus 1.05. Here's that neck profile on the contour gauge, and now as compared to the reissue one. Needless to say, these were spec'd way slimmer. Now let's move on to our headstock. Here's a great spot to see how clear the lacquer is. The modern day ones leave the factory all ambered over. This one's ambered a bit with age. And as I was telling you earlier, no VOS swirls on this. I personally like this look better, but some people disagree. But here is another difference. The old ones say Les Paul Custom on the truss rod cover, whereas the new ones have the Peter Frampton signature again. But our truss rod's perfect on this one. Got plenty of life left and turns both directions just fine. And these little marks around the inlays, that's how you know it's a real Gibson. And now we can move on to the backside. If you get it in the light just right, you can see the lacquer sink here, so we can confirm it is a one-piece mahogany body. But here's a look at our control cavities. Obviously, things are wired a little bit differently here, being a 3-pickup guitar, but also you have that whole modified control layout. I was surprised to see there's actually 2 different sets of capacitors for each set of pots. Usually there's just one, but you've got one right here and bridging those. Same thing is true over here. It looks like it connects these 2 lugs, and then this one connects these pots like usual. But here's where you can see the chambered route. Now, custom shop chambered guitars are different from Gibson USA chambered. The custom shop actually links all of them together, so you just kind of have this center block like thing that stops right here that the pickups, bridge, and tailpiece go into. Whereas USA chambered, typically the chambers are not connected. They're separate, and you cannot see them like this. So in theory, if you drop something in here, you will eventually be able to fish it out over here. But we are able to confirm the maple top on the backside here. Here's a look at our edges on this particular one, and our other side, some mild usage marks. Now we can move up the backside of the neck. I didn't see any crazy marks, just a few light ones, but there's your Gibson Custom Shop decal, and they decided to spec this one out with Grover tuners. And there's a closer look at our serial number, PF628. But all said and done, this one weighs 8 pounds, 7.5 ounces. So yeah, not bad. 8.5 pounds for a full Les Paul Custom. That's that chambering weight relief for you. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how this version sounds. So with your middle pickup, it gives you slightly more single coil-like tones. So I've got those extra tones, but remember, you can always roll that off. This now becomes a regular Les Paul. It actually sounds pretty dark for a humbucker. this acts as a blend knob, so let's see from 0. So you do have some control there. Kind of like it around that 5 point. Maybe 6 or 7 actually. So it's almost like a muddiness switch for your neck pickup. That's interesting. So your middle pickup, I don't know if I necessarily like it with distortion. It adds like a certain nasal quality to it. Maybe that'd be better for lead work. That's not really where I excel. So there we go, the first iteration of the Peter Frampton Les Paul. What are my final thoughts? I'm really glad I didn't just skip over this review because I had no idea this one was so different from what Gibson is currently offering. In many ways, it's kind of a choice you have to make. Do you like a skinny neck or a fat neck? Otherwise, yeah, do the pickups sound different? Sure. But I think that's your biggest thing. This feels so significantly different, and I will never forget this guitar because I'm pretty sure this is the slimmest Les Paul neck I've ever had. Like, it is blade thin. So if you've always been searching for like a really Skinner, almost shredder like guitar neck, find yourself this version of the Peter Frampton Custom. And now that I know about all the differences, it's kind of interesting when this was birthed, around 2000, because that's like slightly after the Les Paul Elegance takeoff. It was very fresh on Gibson's mind, so that's probably why they're like, hey, let's do a chambered out custom to match your light guitar that you had remembered. So if you need the most accurate to Peter's Phoenix guitar, no, these are actually quite awful in that respect. But if you're looking for a unique, thin-necked, chambered out Les Paul that has many different tonal opportunities with 3 pickups and a blending switch here, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. If I had to choose between the two, strictly based on uniqueness, it would definitely be these. So I hope this video helps you decide if you wanted one of these or not. If you're interested in this particular one, it will be for sale on my website, troglysguitarshow.com, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.